Welcome everyone. We're going to be discussing the Sunday readings this week. We're going to begin with our first reading, which was from the book of the prophet Baruch. It is a spectacular reading. We're going to get into it in a little while. My brother Edward lives with his wife Chris in Massachusetts. Whenever they come down here, the first thing Edward starts doing is complaining about the traffic and complaining about the roads. About the traffic and the roads. We have spectacular roads, especially compared to certain countries, developing countries in the rest of the world. I was in East Africa once, and I had to take a 100-mile trip from Kenya to Tanzania. So I kind of figured, that would take about 2 hours here. I doubled it. I said 4 hours. I said to my friend, Richard, when are we going to be leaving? And he said, we have to allow ourselves 12 hours for 100 miles. It was unbelievable. The road was just terrible. Anyway, let's get a little introduction to our first reading, and then we're going to continue our conversation about roads, highways, and turnpikes. Sounds like a TV show. Anyway, this reading was meant to lift the spirits of the Jewish people and give them hope and joy. God is going to change their fortunes, and symbolically, God is going to give them a new set of clothing and a new set of names. That's really, really important. The city of Jerusalem is portrayed as a woman, a mother, who sees her children leaving in slavery, but then they're brought back one day, and it's a day of great rejoicing and of promise. They're going to return on a road, a spectacular royal road. And John the Baptist says his mission is to prepare that road and to get it in good shape. So, let's take a look at our first reading. Like I said, it's from the book of the prophet Baruch. It is magnificent. Jerusalem, take off your robe of mourning and misery. Put on the splendor of glory from God forever. Wrapped in the cloak of justice from God, bear on your head the mitre that displays the glory of the eternal name. So that's the imagery of clothing. For God will show all the earth your splendor. You will be named by God forever, the peace of justice, the glory of God's worship. So they're the two names that God is going to give Jerusalem. The peace of justice, the glory of God's worship. So now we continue. Up, Jerusalem, stand upon the heights. Look to the east and see your children. Gathered from the east and the west at the word of the Holy One, rejoicing that they are remembered by God. Led away on foot by their enemies, they left you. But God will bring them back to you, borne aloft in glory as on royal thrones. So this is probably referring to the exile. The Jewish people were taken out of Jerusalem in slavery. Now the exile is over. God is leading them home. They're coming rejoicing, and they're being carried in royal thrones. Like, years ago, the Pope would be carried in a royal throne on the shoulders of people. So this is the way the Jewish people are going to be returning to Jerusalem. The good news continues. For God has commanded that every lofty mountain be made low, so that it's easier for them to travel back home, and that the age-old depths and gorges be filled to level ground, that Israel may advance secure in the glory of God. This is a beautiful image. Catch this one. The forests and every fragrant kind of tree have overshadowed Israel at God's command. So, at God's command, the forests and their trees gave Israel shade as they returned from Babylon back to Jerusalem. For God is leading Israel with joy. This refers back to the Exodus. God is a general, and he's leading Israel like his army, but they're filled with joy now. For God is leading Israel in joy by the light of his glory, with his mercy and justice for company. So it's just loaded with so many images and metaphors. It's just a great reading. So again, me reading it helps. Maybe I explain it a little bit, but that can't replace you spending some time reading this on your own, aloud and silently. Reflect on how it relates to your life. If you're using the connection programs, there's always space in your workbook where you can feel free to write down some ideas and journal. So, enjoy the reading. God bless you all. See you tomorrow.